Hey, Josh, I know you're a big baseball fan, a big Marlins guy. Obviously, no sports going on right now. So have you been spending the majority of your time doing all of this? Like, what have you been doing on your downtime?
Watching the draft.
Okay.
Watching the draft. I mean, I honestly...
I liked it. I liked it because we were able to be Snoopy and see everyone's house.
I got to tell you that I think the NFL did a brilliant job. That was one of the best produced pieces of content I've seen in quarantine. And that selection, and I think all of the selections by my team, the Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins, was so exciting. I mean, we've been saying tank for Tua now for 2 years. So to finally actually get Tua is really, really beyond. Like, all we want is hope. All we want is a little sense of like, there is light at the end of this tunnel that eventually in a division that has been so dominated by the Patriots, we're gonna eventually have our chance to shine.
Yeah, you happy to see Tom Brady go? Is that like is that every AFC East fan's fantasy that he's gone now?
So happy to see that son of a bitch leave the AFC East. I mean, genuinely the greatest football player I think I've ever seen. But so maddeningly good that it just would break everybody else's hearts who had to go up against him. Although, for whatever reason, the Dolphins have had the Patriots number the past.
They have.
Yes.
You screwed them over in the last game of last season. They would have had the bye in the playoffs.
It kind of, and then the season before was that miracle return.
Yep. Do you think this is your guy? You think Tua is the guy since your childhood with Dan Marino? Is this giving you, Josh Gad, the most hope?
I thought Dante Culpepper was our guy when we got him. So I'm not I'm not anybody to really ask this question. Jay Fiedler was supposed to be our great hope. I'm optimistic. I think Brian Flores is a genius coach. And I think that there is a mentality now and a desire to win that I really feel like has changed the culture and the dynamic of this team. And so I do think that they're on their way. And then the truth is we have a bunch of first round picks next year too.
Now, because you're Josh Gad and you're a notable guy now, do you make your way somehow into that Dolphins locker room and introduce yourself like, hey, Tua, Josh Gad, big fan. We're gonna be part of each other's lives for the
No, not the Dolphins. The Heat organization has been so unbelievable and so gracious to me over the years. I've met a bunch of those guys, and I live, breathe, and sleep Miami sports. So for me to get any sort of opportunities to go chill with any of those guys is a dream come true. And the Dolphins have been amazing. They've allowed me to do some really cool stuff with them. So, no, I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's the one glimmer of hope I have.
That's awesome. Who are your sports heroes growing up and acting? Because obviously, you went into acting, so you had to admire a lot of people growing up. Who are those guys?
Well, I got to start with Dan Marino. I mean, Marino and Shula sort of defined Miami sports in the 1980s, and growing up with that team sort of kind of at the end of its prime was tough because you grew up hearing about that, undefeated season, and it was like, oh, we'll get there again, won't we? And never did. Dwyane Wade, obviously, was such a big part. I look back so fondly on that championship he had with Shaq. Obviously, the big three was such a big part. Also, the Marlins, unbelievable World Series in '97, and then again in 04, 03 or 04.
I enjoyed that one because I'm a big Mets fan. So when they beat the Yankees,
oh my God, how crazy was that?
That was sweet.
It was crazy. So those were really cool. I remember going to the first ever preseason Miami Heat game against the Jerusalem Maccabees or something. It was crazy. Back then, Ronnie Cycli was our like number one player, and we had Glenn Rice, and it was crazy.
By the way, speaking of, and I see you take a lot of pride in like the production value of certain things. Have you been watching The Last Dance on ESPN? Have you watched any of that?
I've recorded it all, so I want to binge it.
Oh, dude,
I want to binge it.
We won't ruin it, but as a fan, I know you're gonna love
Everybody is telling me. I mean, Jordan to me is probably the greatest athlete that I've seen in my lifetime. So, I absolutely cannot wait, and I've heard it's insanely good.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.